Hello. I'm back doing lives. I had to take a little bit of a break. We had some family health stuff going on. Thank you to everybody who's reached out and concerned. And also, as a side note, if you have a Facebook page, like I do, this is on. Hi, Jennifer. If you have a Facebook page for your business, whatever it is, and you're the only administrator for it, get someone else, like if you have a spouse or someone you really, really trust, and have them as an admin also, because I had a glitch happen a couple weeks ago where admin access went away, it vanished, so I was ready to go back live, but I wasn't able to, and it was a whole lot of paperwork, so hi, Mike. So if you have a Facebook page, make sure you have a second administrator, just in case this glitch happens, because it'll save you a lot of hassle. So that's my random, hi Rob, that's my random note to you for today. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. My name is Ashley. I write about food and recipes at Big Flavors from a Tiny Kitchen. It's bigflavorstinyKitchen.com. I'm on all the social media at Big Flavors. Twitter's at Big Flavors blog. And normally on Fridays, we're just getting back into it now, I do live cooking videos. Sometimes it's no cook stuff, but so today I'm going to make roasted sweet potato and black bean tacos with cilantro chimichurri. It sounds like a mouthful. It's kind of a lot of components, but it's very easy and it's a huge hit. I have a lot of people have been really digging that recipe. So I'm preheating my oven to 400. You need I wrote large sweet potatoes, whatever size, really. The more people you're serving, the more, the larger ones you'll want. I could only find these microwavable wrapped in plastic, which kind of bothered me. All the regular sweet potatoes were kind of funky looking, had a lot of holes and stuff in them. So these were the best looking ones that I found. So that's what I'm going to use for this. And this would be easy if you wanted to double it and do 2 sheet pans full of veggies. This would be really easy to do like that. So if you happen to not like the peels on your potatoes, you could peel them. I like them. I think it adds some great nutrients, and I like the texture, so I'm just going to scrub them under some running water. These ones look pretty clean, but just don't get any extra stuff off. I actually made this recipe for a company last year maybe, and well, definitely last year since it's January now. I think they've since gone out of business, so I might go back and kind of tweak the post a little bit. And let me know, guys, if you have any questions along the way. And I just got this new scrub brush. I really like it. It's kind of easier to hold on to than the regular stick kinds. This one is full circle. We've been really liking it. It's ergonomic, which is a weird thing for a scrub brush, but all right. So these sweet potatoes, I'm going to do in about 1-inch-ish cubes. You just want consistent sized pieces so they cook at the same rate. This would be good with, I think this would be really good with butternut squash also. So glad so many of you are joining me today. I've missed doing this. And this is way more fun than sitting at the hospital. So also let me know in the comments what kind of recipes you want to see for this year, either here or new recipes that you'd like me to work on developing for my website. I know a lot of people are in the healthy eating kind of mode once the new year rolls around. But then there's still, comfort food is always good. I just revamped my post for my grandpa's beef stew. And I had a couple people ask about an Instant Pot version. I haven't done that yet because it makes a lot and I like having leftovers with it. So it's too much for my 6-quart Instant Pot, but I might try to play around with that. So I'm just kind of cutting these into pieces and putting them on my baking sheet. I'm like, what's the word for that? So for this recipe, you could make your own taco seasoning blend, and I've done that before. But if you have one that you like from the store, you can just go ahead and use that. The one I'm using today, I think the brand, because I transferred it into one of my little like magnetic containers, but I think the brand that I'm using is Spicely Organics. Old El Paso makes one, and they sell it in like both the envelopes in like a big jug kind of canister. So you can get like different, whatever one you like. Just be wary if you want to make this vegan. I know some fajita seasonings, like the Penzeys fajita seasoning, has dairy, or at least lactose. I don't know if it's dairy in it. So just be sure if you're vegan that you're checking the ingredients. I know this one is, but I also put Greek yogurt on at the end, so that's clearly not vegan, though there are vegan options for that. I just want to get these in the oven because this is the part that takes the longest. And when deciding what to cook for you guys here, it's a little tricky sometimes because I'm like, I don't want to make something that's going to require sitting in the oven and me sitting here twiddling my thumbs while it's going. So I chose this one both because it's very popular and also it has a couple components that you make while the sweet potatoes are roasting. Let's see. All right, so there's my 2 sweet potatoes. We're going to drizzle it with 2 tablespoons of oil. I had written sunflower oil when I wrote the recipe because that's what the company that I made it for, that's one of the oils that they sold, and I wanted a neutral one that I could cook at high heat with if I need. But I think this one is peanut, really whatever. I just sometimes olive oil can add a bit of a flavor that I don't necessarily always want. So, yes, Penzeys does make a good taco seasoning. Hi, Leslie. All right, let's see. So 2 tablespoons oil. I want a teaspoon of taco seasoning and half a teaspoon of salt and some pepper, and then that's going to go into the oven. I can't believe how many years I went thinking that like ground beef or ground turkey was the only way to go with tacos. I guess I just got in the habit of that from how I ate them growing up, and I think it's really fun to experiment with different flavors. I use, I've done some with like kabocha squash before. There's a lot of really fun ways you can do vegetarian tacos, and I like adding beans in there too to just kind of bulk it up. And so even if you eat meat, which we do, you're not feeling like you got cheated out of a meal. All right, so I just spread this in an even layer because if they're piled on top of each other, they won't cook evenly. So I'm going to pop it in the oven. It's almost preheated. It's 400. So 20 minutes. All right. So the other components of this are a cilantro chimichurri. And I will tell you, my friend Jen was over, and she does not like cilantro at all, but she wanted to try the chimichurri, and she really liked it. But if you absolutely hate it, you could use parsley instead. I don't know if any other fresh herbs would work too well, but or you could do like half cilantro, half parsley. That would be fine. All right, so I don't know if I've showed you guys the easiest way to chop garlic. Let's see. You drop it into the food processor while the motor is running. So for this, I need 6 cloves. Does anybody have fun food plans for the weekend? We're going to a venison dinner on Sunday. We've been invited every year. We've never been able to make it, and so this year we're finally going to make it happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. They have fried carrot tops make a nice chimichurri. Ooh, Mike, that sounds really good. I always tell myself that I'm gonna not throw out my carrot tops, and I think part of it is you need to cut them off right when you get them home in case you don't use them right away. I think they hold up a little longer if they're not attached to the carrot. But yeah, I throw them away too often, so I need to try to get better at that. I know people use them for pesto, but it's a good idea to do for chimichurri too. Oh, I've had a couple of people ask about these bags. These are just reusable mesh produce bags. I keep them in my shopping bags at the grocery store, and so when I'm going through the produce section, I just kind of pile them up. And I had still been putting herbs in one of the plastic bags, but then I decided to just keep a separate one. So like my cilantro's in here. It holds up pretty well, and you can just throw them in the washing machine, but I don't put them in the dryer because I'm not sure if it would melt whatever the material. I feel like it would be not very good. But you could probably also use one of those like garment bags that you can wash like delicate clothes in the washing machine. I think that might work also if you have those around and you don't want to buy something else. So I also I have made some cold brew cookies from somebody's cookbook recently. I'll be posting those soon. They're a really big hit. I sent them to work with my husband yesterday, and people were going nuts for them. It has cold brew concentrate and chocolate-covered espresso beans, dark chocolate, white chocolate. They're very, very decadent, very good. I'm just trying not to crush the garlic too much while I'm peeling it. So, all right. So if you turn your food processor on and you drop them down the chute, they mince up really nice and evenly. Instead of if you put them in and then turn it on, it's kind of uneven, and this works pretty well. I think I learned it from Cooking Light. And you just kind of let it go. And then like, look how even this is. I mean, there's no giant chunks anywhere. So that's been one of my favorites hacks for mincing if I have to do a lot of garlic. Just washed and dried mine the other day. They dry up just fine. No melting. I think use a delicate cycle. Oh, that's good to know. I feel like sometimes things in the dryer, even on delicate, they just, I don't know, don't last as long. So sometimes I just hang things up anyway. But good to know. Also, if you have reusable shopping bags, which you should, I think, make sure you wash them periodically in the washing machine, because sometimes food kind of spills in and gets kind of rancid and disgusting, and you could get bacteria and all sorts of stuff. So definitely be sure to wash those occasionally. All right, so I've got my 6 cloves of garlic. I'm going to add cilantro, red wine vinegar, lime juice, oregano, salt, and cayenne. So I've got 1 bunch of cilantro. Just going to clean it off. I use the stems also. I use them when I'm cooking with it too, unless something very specifically says only the leaves. I know a lot of people think that you can't eat the stems, or maybe the flavor is a little more concentrated in the stems, but I don't mind it, especially in Indian food. I think it's really good. I'm guilty of buying garlic pre-chopped in tubes. Hey, nothing wrong with that. And I gotta say, the kind that you get in the jar, the little garlic that's already minced, is really good for stir fries. For some reason, that flavor just really works when it's like that. All right, so I just kind of cut it into a little bit more manageable chunks and stuff it into the food processor. anything like, I mean, you can also buy pre-peeled garlic in tubs, and that makes things a lot easier, especially, if you use a lot of garlic and you go through it before it goes bad. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. You could also use apple cider vinegar. I mean, you could use whatever vinegar you have. My last choice would be just plain white vinegar. You could use white wine vinegar though, just because I feel like these ones have a little bit more flavor. 1 tablespoon of lime juice. So I always think I have everything out for making these recipes, and then I'm like, no, need a juicer. I'm going to make wedges out of half of this because I like to serve this with some wedges alongside in case anybody wants to squeeze a little extra on their tacos. What's everybody else having for lunch today? I'm having these tacos, and my husband will have them for dinner. My son, he's very anti-potato these days, unless it's a French fry or a hash brown or a tater tot, but otherwise he really won't eat potatoes. I'm like, not even like mashed potatoes or garlic mashed. He wants nothing to do with them. So we actually had a mashed potato bar at my wedding. Like, it was garlic mashed, regular mashed, and sweet potato mashed, and they had all these different toppings, and it was really good. All right, a tablespoon of lime juice, and then we're going to add some dried oregano. I like this juicer because I have this style also, that you stick it in here and just kind of squeeze it, but you either have to be okay eyeballing it, which I am for some things, or put it into another container and then use that container to measure. So I like this style just because it has the spout, and it kind of makes it a little more streamlined. All right, so half a teaspoon of oregano and kosher salt. And I can already smell the sweet potatoes roasting. They smell really good. I think what got me into sweet potatoes with chimichurri is we were grilling steaks one day, and I had my husband grill some sweet potatoes to go alongside them, and I made chimichurri to go on top of the steak, and some of it got onto my sweet potato on the plate, and I tasted it together, and I was like, wait a minute, this is really, really good. So that's how kind of the inspiration behind this, obviously without the steak, though this would be really good with steak also. And where am I? Let's see. Lime juice, oregano, salt, and some cayenne pepper. And then you want to make it until it's nice and smooth. But I think, till everything's finely chopped, and then I'm going to drizzle in some oil. This amount, it's only a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. You can add more if you like it spicier. It doesn't make it so spicy that, like, my kid would still eat it, but again, it would have to be on something that wasn't potatoes. All right, so you just want to get it kind of evenly chopped at the beginning before you put the oil in. So kind of not great light, but everything is kind of small. And then I like to use a spatula to just get everything off the edges down in there to make sure it gets nice and mixed in. So I say that we need about a 1/4 cup of oil. You can measure it if you like, or you can just kind of do it until it looks nice and smooth. So I'm going to open the chute. I once forgot, and I left this piece in the chute, and I turned it on and I started drizzling, and I think I was recording it for Instagram stories, and it went right into here, and so I filled this with oil. So always make sure you take that out. I blame mom brain. I don't know. And again, I think I'm using peanut oil today. You can use, the recipe says sunflower, just kind of a neutral flavored oil, although I don't mind olive oil in my chimichurri. So really, whatever is handy. I know everybody has kind of different preferences. I just personally am not really into canola oil. I find that it often has a flavor that I don't care for. All right, so this I think is looking good now. It's definitely not for people who aren't into garlic, because it's very garlicky, but you just kind of want it to be not super thin, though if you add more oil it'll get thinner, but it might kind of run off of your tacos at that point. So leave that. And then we're gonna do the quick pickled onions. A lot of people don't like raw onions. I do, but quick pickling them kind of mellows them out a little bit. You could also, if you don't want to pickle them but you still want the onion flavor, you could just soak them in a little bit of cold water, and that will mellow out the flavor also. Thinking for a little PB&J for lunch today. My oven is steaming. Yeah, that's the top. So I have like this little mini oven on top, and that's the vent. I'll turn the fan on. But yeah, that happens especially at high heats. So I picked red onion for this recipe because of the color. Just looks really pretty. But sweet onions would work too. If you want an even milder flavor, you could do shallots. That's always an option. I find that that's better for people who they like onion flavor, but not so much. Shallots are usually good for that. Okay, so just gonna thinly slice some of these and then cover it with a little lime juice to pickle it. So just like as thin as you can get them. They'll kind of break down faster the thinner they are. I'm by no means a knife skills expert. Like these ones are thicker, but you know, try to keep them around the same size. And if you do make them a little thicker, you can just leave them in the lime juice for longer. It should be fine. But it does look really pretty on top. And these are good for other things too. They'd be great on a sandwich. I don't know how long, like they'll hold up for a couple days in the fridge, but I don't know exactly how long they would last without getting kind of funky. And I'm just kind of separating them so that the lime juice can get around all the edges and everything. Oops. All right. So I guess this is an instance where I would probably use my other type of juicer because I can squirt it directly into the bowl. So this says, I wrote 3 tablespoons, but really you're just trying to kind of cover these. And if they're not totally submerged, that's fine because you stir it around every once in a while. I'm just going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt on top of it when I'm done. See, like this juicer gets a lot of the juice out. And I find that room temperature citrus is easier to juice. So I had these ones out. Hi, Trina. Brave woman cutting onions on live. I wouldn't be able to keep my eyes open. You know, I feel like the red ones don't like burn your eyes as often as the other ones, but I'm not about to try like those goggles or anything like that. So the onions, it's just onion, salt, and lime juice, and you can just kind of, you know, get your face all up in there if you're being brave, like Trina said. So I just like to let these sit for like 10 minutes I figure by the time the potatoes are done, should be good. So they should be ready. So the chimichurri is done. Quick pickled onions, pretty much done. Let's see. When the potatoes are ready, add the black beans to the tray and add the remaining half a teaspoon of salt and oregano. So is there more oregano? Look at that. I found something on my recipe that doesn't really make sense. So I listed oregano in 2 places. I will fix that. I put it in with the potatoes, and that's fine. So, dried oregano. All right. So I'm going to drain and rinse a can of black beans. I'm using low sodium just because I feel like there's enough salt in the taco mix and everything. But rinsing them off does get rid of a lot of the sodium. Normally, if I'm making like black beans and rice, I don't bother rinsing. I don't bother getting low sodium because I like the salt in them, and I usually end up adding a little extra salt even. So a lot of times some of the beans kind of stick to the bottom there of the can. And I'm bold. I always balance this thing on my sink, which is probably not a great idea, but and then sometimes you just kind of have to get in the bottom of the can and swish some water around to get the extra beans out. And just kind of run it until the water starts running clear instead of brown. And just kind of shake it to drain out the extra. All right, so let me see, what did I do here? Remaining half teaspoon of salt. Okay, so I used half of the salt on the sweet potatoes, and then I'll use the remaining half now. I'm gonna go ahead and take them out, even though there's still a minute left because it should be close enough. So you can see they're getting nice and toasty. They're already tender, so they're basically cooked through. So I'm just adding the beans on top, and then I'm gonna stir it around. Well, I'm gonna add the half teaspoon of salt, so I'm controlling the amount of salt that's in there, and then I'm gonna stir it around and pop it back in. Since these potatoes are pretty much, they are cooked through, I'm just heating the beans. I think I'm only going to do this for another 5 minutes instead of, I think the recipe says 8. You know, you can do it longer if you want the potatoes to be more brown. Just kind of depends. You just want to make sure they're cooked through. So I've got this nice mix here. It's the taco filling. So you can see it makes quite a bit. So I'm going to set another 5 minutes. And that should be good. So let me see if you guys had any more questions. Love that juicer. I have the same one. They do have onion slicing goggles. It is a gorgeous sweet potato. Thank you. Yeah, I've seen people try the onion slicing goggles. I mean, you look ridiculous, but if you're really that scared of the smell or crying, it's fine. So you can see in the onions, the lime juice, can I turn this without spilling, is starting to turn pink from the purple on the red onion. All right, so as soon as that's done, I'm gonna serve them in warmed tortillas with the chimichurri spooned over the top and the pickled onions. I like doing a little bit of plain Greek yogurt on top. You can do sour cream if you like. If you want to keep it vegan, you would do well, you could do nothing. I just like that kind of cool flavor with it. You could use, there's some vegan based sour creams also. I want to say tofu, is it Tofutti that makes one. That's pretty good. My husband used to eat those because he's got some lactose issues. Okay, did you guys have any other questions before I start plating the tacos? Okay, I don't think I see any. So warming tortillas, if you have a gas stove, you just take these are flour tortillas, you just take it and you, very low flame, you literally just put it right on the grate and you flip it over. And that's like the best way to heat it. I don't have a gas range. You can do it in a dry skillet. You don't need to put oil in it because that'll like kind of, you know, cook the outside edge instead. So what I normally do until recently is I would take my tortillas and I would wrap them in a paper towel, and I would get my hand wet and I would just kind of dampen the outside of the paper towel, microwave them for like 10 or 15 seconds. But then recently what I've been doing is I've been using these stasher bags. I've talked about these before. They're silicone, I believe. Like no chemicals, no nothing in there. And it saves me wasting a paper towel. So I just take the tortillas and I kind of cram them in the sandwich bag. And then this is the sandwich size, so they fit perfectly in there. And I like this because if I'm serving my whole family, I can put like 6 tortillas in here, and I don't seal it. I just kind of like leave it flat. And you could crimp it in the middle if you want, but they stay warm for a while because you take out the ones that you're eating and you just leave the rest in here, and they're nice and covered. And if you need to heat them again, you just pop them back in. So I found that to be kind of a fun way to heat them instead of, there are tortilla warmers that have like the base with a little lid, but that's just a bigger thing and I don't have a lot of space. So like I have a whole bunch of these just kind of in the edge of my cabinet. So like I've got the half-gallon size. This is the biggest size they make right now. And there's also a snack size, but I do things too. Sorry, it's just like a random sidebar while that's finishing. But I also like to store things like cut onions in them because you can kind of squeeze out the extra air and then it takes up less room than a Tupperware, and I'm not wasting a plastic bag, so I put this right in the fridge. So that's kind of been my thing I've been into doing lately. So I'm going to take these, let's see, I'm just going to microwave it for like 15 seconds and that should make them nice and hot and pliable. And then this is something I got on a whim a while ago, but I actually love them. These are taco holders, and actually Mike, who's on here, got a really quart, I think. Oh, it's a quart size. I'm bad with those type of measurements. Got me like a little individual, it looks like a little chili pepper to hold one taco that my son really likes, but this can hold 3, so you put the tortillas like this, and then it's easier to build your fillings inside of them. And they're very cheap on Amazon. I have a link to my Amazon shop page in the description here, or it's off of my website in the top corner. You can find it, but it's shop.amazon.com/bigflavors or amazon.com/shop/bigflavors. Let's see, which one goes first? Amazon.com/shop/bigflavors. I have them in there. I have a couple different styles. They have some that look like dinosaurs too, and I think those are really cute. So that's what it looks like. Steaming hot plate of taco filling. So when I serve these for dinner here, not lunch at 11 o'clock in the morning, I put this into a smaller container and put that on the table, and everybody can put as much as they want in there. So these are nice and steamy and very pliable now. So just kind of plop them between the rings on here. So you can do 3 on here. I just didn't want to build 3 tacos because I don't think I'm going to eat that much. But so you can do 3, and I saw people also use them for cannolis and hot dogs. Stasher bags are so useful. I seriously need to start using them in meal prepping. Yeah. Well, thanks for putting the link in there, Rob. It's also up in the description. Yeah, you can do like, I've seen people do like smoothie bags, so they'll chop up a bunch of like fruits and veggies and put them in the bags and put them in the freezer, and then they have them when they're ready. And they just pop them in the blender. So, just gonna load these up. That's awkward to hold like that. So I've got the sweet potato and black beans in there, nice and hot. And then I'm gonna drizzle on, or kind of spoon on, some of this chimichurri. I'm not shy with it. Oh man, it smells really good. I wonder if, I bet I could make a bigger batch of the chimichurri and freeze it in little like ice cube trays. I bet that would work really well. So all right, we got chimichurri up on there. I'm gonna take some of the thinner pieces of the red onion because they're nice and pickled now. Oh, actually, one of the reasons I chose to make this today is my friend Lisa, she has an genealogy website called Are You My Cousin? But it's under her name, lisalisten.com. And she was in town in New York City over the weekend. I finally met her in person. I've known her online for a long time, and her family goes nuts for this recipe. They make this one, and they make the chicken fajitas that are on my website. That's my husband's recipe. They make them all the time. So there they are. And it's nice and easy to pick them up from this and put them down. Again, you could fit 3 on there. Chimichurri freezes well. I figured. For some reason, I know pesto does, but I never have leftover chimichurri, so I'd have to like double or triple it, although my food processor wouldn't fit. Maybe I'd make it in the blender and make a big batch. I wonder, though, if the trick with the garlic dropping in the feed chute, I wonder if that works in the blender. But, all right, I will not so elegantly take a bite of this just to make sure that it's good for you guys. But yep. If you guys make this, leave a comment and a rating on my website. I'd really appreciate it. Share it on social media. Tag me at Big Flavors. You can use hashtag #CookBigFlavors. I would love to see it. And again, let me know if there's anything that you guys want to see in the future, either live or just posted to my site. So thank you so much and have a great day.